Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we're going to paint some lovely flowers on a bicycle, which will make a really cool card design for any kind of summer celebration. So grab your paints and let's get started. I was keen to do this one because I think a lot of people say if you were asked to draw a bicycle just off the top of your head, a lot of people wouldn't actually know how it's put together. So here's my little take on drawing a bicycle. The first thing is I've done two parallel lines which are going to give me the size, or at least a rough size of my wheels, and I think that's really the important part of it. And now I'm just getting a compass sized up to be sort of roughly half the distance between those two lines, and I'm going to draw one circle. Whoops. And then I'm going to try and draw another one. Yeah, I think that's, you want a bit of a gap in between. Maybe we'll give it a little more of a gap. So the size that I am doing, just so you know, the distance between the top and bottom line is just, well, let's see, is it more better in inches? It's just bigger than an inch, basically, just a bit more than an inch, a bit less than 3 centimetres. And so the wheels themselves are that size, and the distance between them, we've got about a 2 centimetre gap in between. So now I'm not going to worry about being too sort of precise and things now. So we've got the centre of both our wheels here, and I think what's quite good is popping first in a sort of hook shape there, which gives you then a little circle for the pedals, then up comes a sort of a thing for the seat, and then we'll have another sort of diagonally but with a little curve on the bottom line for the handlebars. Then I'm going to go a diagonal from there and a diagonal from there, and now we've got both our wheels connected and things. And then depending on the type of bike, there's another crossbar there. Sometimes it goes like across the top like that. I've done it like this. And then handlebars, again, handlebars can take a different sort of shaping, and then a little saddle. And then we'll have, you could either sort of get your compass and just make it a fraction bigger. I wonder if that'll work. Yeah, that's pretty good. Even though I'm pretty rubbish with the compass, it always comes off. You can see. I told Ant this would be quite like a quick and easy video, and here I am making a hash of it. There we go, to get our little hubcaps. Not hubcaps, what are those called? Mudguard things, aren't they? And then we're going to have a basket on the front. Just need to do sort of the base of it really, and we'll have a basket on the back. So once you've got that all drawn, we just, as I said, we just need the bare minimum of what we need. I mean, you could put pedals in, but don't worry about too much. So get that ready. Give it a light rub out with pencil. I'll keep it in for the sake of filming, and then we'll get painting. I've got some Prussian blue just mixed up there, and it's quite dilute, and what I'm going to do is using I'll start with a size 0 brush, see how I get on. I want to paint the frame quite simply, and I like to try, when I'm painting sort of shiny things like this, to do two parallel lines that aren't sort of like really perfect and thin, but ones that might just get at times a tiny bit of shine. So I'm just going to paint the bike frame in dilute Prussian blue, trying to find as much highlight and unpainted space as possible. I've now mixed up a much more concentrated bit of Prussian blue, but also added a tiny bit of Payne's grey. And now I am going to attempt with as steady a hand as possible, but also the whole point of this illustration is it's just a little bit sort of charming and slightly childish, that it doesn't matter if we don't get a perfect circle, but I want to paint the tyres of the wheels, so I'm just following around the pencil circle we did with the compass. And we're also going to add in just a little bit of detail. We'll also do the little wheel down here. And then we can get the pedals in as well. I'm just sort of painting things in a little sort of loosely, and then for the handlebars, I'm just going to do some little strokes like that, and then just do a little line to join them up. Then with the rigger brush, I'm going to attempt a few spokes coming out from the middle. I think wheel spokes and leaf lines have the power to sort of derail what can be quite a nice, charming little painting if you sort of try and do them too seriously and go really, really specific on them. So yeah. In fact, I think I'll do one like that. Okay, so we'll just get the other one done, and then we're ready to do some flowers. Now it's time to do some flowers. I rather like doing things in limited colour palettes, and so we're going to focus on the blue and then red. And so what I'm going to do is I've got some cadmium red, and I've also got a bit of permanent rose as well, which I'm going to sort of interchange in between. But I am going to now paint a series of sort of red, slightly stylized focal flowers in miniature. So we've got some roses here, so I've got my 4/10 brush, and what I'm doing is I'm just starting with a little curve and just now building up little wobbly strokes around the edge, leaving little bits of unpainted space, and this creates some lovely roses. Now if you're keen to learn roses in a bit more detail and depth than this, you can find all sorts of rose painting tutorials on my flowers and foliage playlist, as well as in my book New Botanical Painting, where it all began for me, and we'll get some nice roses on here as well. So these focal flowers are it's really important to put them in first. You can see just by creating little bits of unpainted space, and then we'll have a few sort of slightly nondescript little petal flowers that we just do by creating little sort of teardrop shapes with the brush from a central anchored point. And of course flowers, we always see them in different stages of bloom, so some might just have 3, some might have 1. If you sort of want to imagine the stems, how they're going to be growing, and then we can maybe place in some clusters of berries. So we're just going to get all the red bits painted in, and then we'll add some stems. For the leaves, I've actually mixed up, I want to keep the blue tone really prominent, so I mixed up some sap green with lots of Prussian blue. Prussian blue's already got quite a greeny tone to it, but I think this will work really nicely. So I've got my little brush again, and for starters I'm just going to find places where we can pop some leaves in. So if it's roses, there'll be sort of these fat leaves like that, poking out the sides of the roses. And they can sort of overlap down into the bike. That's quite fun. And with the bike frame, at least, we've painted that quite lightly, so things can be painted over the top of it quite easily. And then we've got our sort of nondescript flowers. I'm not entirely sure what they are. You could use the rigger brush for this, but my stems aren't that long and slender, so I'm quite happy just using my 4/10 brush. What I also think is nice is just actually mixing up the concentration you've got. So if I make this a bit more dilute, and then I could just have a lovely, more dilute, just a bit of foliage. Basically, I'm trying to sort of get a slight fullness and filling up the area. If you want to fill in your berries, you can either just sort of have a little branch like that, or I've done a longer one here where my intention was to have a slightly sort of longer looking item. We now need to get some basket detail in, so I've got some yellow ochre, and I've also mixed up burnt sienna just in case for a little bit of low light, and I'm just going to sort of place in little dashes where I can sort of see past the flowers into the basket, but I'm not too worried about things being really precise and exact. Because the whole sort of nature of this kind of illustration is meant to be a little bit quirky, a bit simplified. It's good to paint in different styles every now and then, I think. And then I think we'll make the saddle a nice brown colour too. But I'm just painting sort of the outside edge of it, and then by leaving just that little bit in the middle, gives a bit of shine. And then I could even get a bit of darker brown in the burnt sienna and just dab in a little bit to the basket on various sides, just to give it a bit more detail, because I can't help myself, even though it's a simplified bike, and because I can't help myself, I'm just going to take a bit of permanent rose, quite concentrated, and just give these roses just a little bit more from the middle, just a little curve, 1, 2, 3. And there we have a very simple but very sweet bike with flowers to make a lovely card design. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that one. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating videos like these that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and comment below to let me know how you got on with that one. And if you're sharing your work on social media, just tag us at the Winton Paper Co on Instagram. And of course, if you never want to miss another video, then hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. And we'll see you again next time. Bye!